Now I know that I'm not gonna let you die. I guess that I just thought maybe we could find a ways to fall upon, but my friends are bad, so let's raise it. Oh, 'cause I found someone who can remain home tonight. So let's set the moon on fire and make me let's so tonight, yeah, so let's set the moon on fire and come better than the sun. Carry me home tonight. Just carry me home tonight. Carry me home tonight. Just carry me home. Yeah. Someone go carry me home tonight. Yeah. So let's set the moon on fire. We can go better than so let's set me on fire and we so by the time the buckle makes you feel like falling in, I'll carry you home tonight. Hey, it's me. I just want to make sure I have that within reach. I don't think I do. What am I going to do?
It pays to keep an open mind. It's why short-term savers and long-term planners make with us. $1 million ideas on 10-cent napkins make with us. Newcomers, long-timers, and in-betweeners make with us. If you're open to that, we are open to you.
Okay. Be open to me, not be open to you.
Canadians love to travel. We love to visit somewhere nice.
Canadians love to travel. We like to visit somewhere nice. In fact, we spend so much money outside of Canada in search of nice because of the goal of circumstances. Millions of people all over the world flock to Canada. No matter the year. In fact, because I say so. It's the nicest place on earth. We're good looking, but like very diverse. We're filled with amazing people. It's very incredible. The food is great and so many adventures. It's extreme, and that's unfortunate. It's responsible for 10% of all the joy and love that we create in the world. 100% from Canada, all Canada. Save industry. You're investing on too in Canada. For us, to explore our own backyards. For us, it's hell of amazing. You see for yourself. It's pretty easy to find. It's just like 2 provinces over, or 2 times down, or 2 up, or 2 down, or 2 left, and anywhere in between. It's your own backyard. I promise. You'll find it at the time of our lives. How nice is that? Canada. So weird. Oh, it's a good song. I was pondering, as I do. Hi, my name is Elliot, and I ponder, like you. There I sang the song my young accord last night. No, It was a little more like yesterday, yesteryear, yes to all and everything in between there. The angels and the nightmares, the shadows and the backgrounds and the more unsuspecting victims of darkness and valleys. We can jive like Jack and Sally if we want. We can always find me hanging at Christmas and wishing that this never ends. As soon as you walk through the door, I miss you. As soon as I blink, I can't say no more. I miss you. Hello, where are you? And I'm so sorry I can't sleep, can't dream tonight. I need somebody that always is strange darkness creeping every time, staring and counting words and spirals catching. More insides like indecision. Won't hear your voice, won't you come on there? Softness tonight. Don't waste time with me on the radio. Waste the time with me on the radio. Voice inside my room. Miss you. Like jackhammers and saws are like grooving. So say I. Don't waste your time on me, 'cause you're already my voice inside. My already gone most the time inside your my voice inside your away to time. Me are already a voice inside my miss you already. No waste no time. Miss you already. I miss you already. Make time in your already. Miss you already. Miss you already. Miss you already. Yeah, like my little glasses do the pads, because they do. So I took them out, and then it was like prodding me, because that's what glasses do. They don't have the pads. And so I just bent them. I've got another confession. My glasses don't ever really sit squarely on my face. I'm a bit of a fool. Everyone's got the chins and break cold and new. Resist don't be abused. Someone getting the best of you. Someone getting the best of you. Are you going on the same? I need it somewhere. Nothing without shoulder. You give me something that I did never come. I was too big to fall stronger. What you were, now if you speak them enough, That's what I can choose. That's when I never give up now. With the world, there's someone getting the best of you. Someone getting the best of you. Someone making known that it's real. And you feel trust and love. Come on, there's someone getting the best of you. More. Someone making you fade, it's real, the thing you feel. La 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 to you. Thoughts nothing other trust you must be making someone getting up next. You, someone getting the best you. I'm not the compassion of them. I'm no fool. I'm tired of starting again. Somewhere new, I know. No way I start, baby, I'm good. I swear I never someone someone got me last time. Yeah. Someone take me away. And I trust you lost me best. And I'm the best of you are. Oh, that's so good. No goodies. Hi, my name's Elliot, and there's always goodies. So embarrassing. 13 minutes in, apart from the course. Most importantly, before I continue, I never really want to say anything. Which is to say, I want to be quiet or be alone or anything like that. That's far from it. More than, there's nothing I'm saying that I feel like if I don't tell you, you don't know or won't know or can't figure out on your own. In fact, my voice is only a channel to be a sound that makes the sound of your own voice telling you what you already know and how awesome you sound, if I may say so. See what I did there? Crazy. I was triggered to speak on this topic as a reason to get on here and see your face. Like I need that. Well, I do, because your face is in everything, so I don't rely on just this you. Although you could be closer. Namaste. That's the game we're playing, obviously. And it's 2-player, at least. You don't want to split the screen up too much, right? Although 4-player Mario Kart, 4-player GoldenEye, that worked too. Okay, I'm going to geek out a little bit on gaming, because first person everything is the rage. But full player GoldenEye was boss, and we like to think that we're smart by throwing in lots of complex things. Like, I like to think that I'm not smart, but not stupid. I don't really have a self-identifier as like a I'm smart. I have a I'm not stupid. I think that's good enough for me. And I'm lovely, which has been a work in progress. Hello, life. Which is to say, it's all about throwing more things onto the screen. It's more about throwing more levers of action, levers of opportunity, levers of awareness, dot at this, dot at that. Oh, this is happening, this is happening, this is happening. And all that on one screen is already enough. What are we talking about here? First person shooter or life? And I mean, it's all really cool, especially optionally, but gosh, it is a lot of clutter. And all the more if we're trying to share the same screen with 3 other people, and it's really only divvied up because of, like, I only know which screen is mine, not because of anything, but I know what part of the screen I am. It has nothing to do with even where I'm sitting in the room, although it could. That could be self-organizing. Whatever, just flow with my philosophical talking to myself and just you manner of streaming, thoughting. But GoldenEye and 64, like, how much information was on your little screen, right? Like, there was like your gun, and it was just like not like these games also either, where like the gun might move with the hand or it bobs, or it's got some, like, it was just like, this is your gun. Its moving action is it like pops in and out of existence to reload, basically. But there's no other, and also like maybe a firing muzzle flash. But like, but it's even a firing action. It's like in and out, in and out. It's very simple, like data stream information. Your ammo was right there in front of you as well. In fact, like, as far as the digits went, but also you never cared too much because you knew what gun you had, so you knew how long, and it was all very simple. Clear, like, lines of distinction. So you could sit in the same room with your friends and play the game because there wasn't as much information being thrown at you. You were in the information, which was hanging out with your friends. And you sacrifice the sound as far as like being a single stream of like footsteps, and this is your positioning, this is where you are, versus your environment or lighting and all those like really complex things that we then overlay a HUD, which is just like a heads-up display for games and or live. And while all that information is useful, it's like, but do I need any of it to crack on and have fun? Especially if all I care about is nothing to do with the screen and everything to do with the laughter and smiles of the people sitting in the room with me who aren't even on the screen. I hope that I'm making a solid point of relating what seems like an abstract analogy to something that's highly relatable to us in this day and age of like smoke screens and time delays and streaming live but never really living at the same time in the same room, and reconciling that being no different than sitting in the same room at the same time, or can be. And so learning to experience that truth is enlarging, encompassing, and enlivening and loving, and then reconciling the new truth of that presence being all there is and all there needs to be. But if we're not in the same room when we want to be, that doesn't need to be an obstacle, rather a stream of time happening, because everything in time has a process. the beginning, the middle, and an end. And it's like perennialness. It's perennial nature. It's essential cyclical clock of being, which is just cause and effect. It's essential wheel of karma. Okay. Just channeling a bunch of shit. Yeah. Next point. Has something to do with conversion software. Point. And disorder. Happy around the sun, tonight. Swim the secret silence and sweet on the way. Between the broken silence and sweet, so very sorry Flashlight happiness, got nothing it's a better fight into the sea. Sweet and soda now. And I'll be there. Where did I just go? Where are we? Where do you come from?
Are you ready?
Are you ready for the day
Do you
to
have the skills
revolution?
needed to stay ahead? More
stay
people
ahead.
than ever.
Are learning data science. It's true. I am. Every day is a data science. Data science. Oh. I took my walk in town around the world to ease my mind. I took a walk around the world to ease my I want the world no two arms around. That's something to do. Just be my friend at the end. If I go with it, well, you will go with Superman. You call me strong on the wings and your skirts, I will keep you ready. I will take a breath of that beauty. I'm living on my living if I go crazy, still not Superman, I'm alive when you be there for my give me my This is a secret video because the algorithms in my title will scare off any well-meaners. If I'm crazy, well, you still call me Superman. If I'm alive, well, will you be there holding my hand? Be by my side with my super mind kryptonite, yeah. If I'm okay, keep it going. Okay, maybe I'll insert a little bit of science. Science? Science? What are you saying, Elliot? What are you hearing, Elliot? Because I was on my balcony and I saw a neighbor who I didn't know particularly, but it was my neighborhood, so it's a neighbor. He's walking, carrying groceries or whatnot, and had his breath mask on. I call it a breath mask because it is a thing that masks your breath. So it's a breath mask. Ha ha ha. And I'm sensitive to obstructions to my airflow. And I'm super aware of how much harder it is to breathe with a breath mask on. I smoke like a champ. And as in, like, basically you're not a champion if you don't smoke. Oh, this one's not made for kids. It is. Everything is. If something's not made for kids, you just remake it for the kids. What else is there? Right? Each other. The kids. And I couldn't immediately reconcile the laziness of keeping it on. Like, I live in Canada, so we know all about layers, and the fun is seasons of spring and fall, and well, summer and winter too. Like layers, like not knowing. Oh, it's like, oh fuck, I'm hot. I could be more comfortable, but it's more comfortable for me to just leave it. But it's like that's never true when you've got this breath mask on you, face mask, breath mask, whatever. It's still something you're hiding, and it's still the thing you're hiding being masked. So it's a good name for it. You know? Sensitive to the meaning in words is a great sensitivity to have when you're sensitive to yourself and in love. With who? I told you. These are my words. But the discomfort is nonetheless, so it's either just like easier just to leave it on because it's not that comfortable, you're not that sensitive, and it's worth the cost, the reason that you're wearing it. So for most people, it's like some mix between social stigma, like they don't want to not be wearing it, and because they'll see others as seeing them as not caring or conforming and being a part of the good groups. So I'm a good person, good people listen to the voices of the TVs and the papers and the streams. That's fun. You're not a good person. You're not wearing your mask. You know, I'm not making fun or condescending. This literally, isn't that what the voice sounds like? I know. I hear it too, even though I don't listen to it. Right? Doesn't mean you don't hear. Doesn't mean there's no evil. Doesn't mean there's no good. Doesn't mean that I'm not going to still hurt you by accident. But if there isn't room for that, then there's room for life. We only risk loving in the areas where there isn't any love yet. And we need that. It's the cusp of love. That's why it's overflowing. If it was just an upright cup, it'd be a mess. But because it's just gently pouring, it has a direction, and all the pour gets to love and work together and create this path of love. It was quite beautiful. So what are we hiding? What am I hiding? I might not be wearing a mask. I might even rebel against the mask. So what is so wrong with the mask that the world is creating a mask for me to not wear? And it has to do, I think, with something in ways that I share very intimately with you. My viewership. My few matter how many views these videos don't get. It's regardless of the sum. Correlation is not causation. We are only our own correlation and on the same cause and effect. So why not? Is the only reason. To not love, which is the cusp of love. Anyways, so we're performing overflow. And I can project into the world, perhaps especially the world at large, like I can't breathe. It feels like I'm suffocating, and I'm doing it to myself because of the shit I put on me. I smoke, and it's not 100% positive reasons. It's like probably 88% positive reasons I smoke, and that lasts between 11 and 13. because everything's a flux. It has something to do with that same covering the face, when really I'm just covering my mouth, but I call it a face mask. It's hard to breathe, but my face is covered, and I don't want it to be, so it feels like I can't breathe and I want to breathe. It feels like I can't say and I want to say. It feels like I want to sing and I can't sing, but I'm not allowed. And that if I do, instead of being seen for being a breather, a singer, a sayer, I'm only being seen as someone that's not doing what I'm supposed to do. Not even just regardless of what I'm doing instead, but despite it too. Like in the one breath, I can be praised for what I'm doing because I'm not wearing a mask, and then prosecuted by the same praisers because, but you're not wearing a mask. So it feels like sing, say, speak, you can't breathe. Fuck, how many times I couldn't count if I had a nickel. What's half a nickel? For every time I've felt like I couldn't smile because it would do the opposite of what I thought like it would do. What kind of weird experiences one must have to think that a smile is going to have the opposite effect. And you know what? It's most of the time who we think are strangers. It's just probably people on the street. The street is the streets of our lives. Their works. And plays. Smiling, you might think I'm coming on to you. Smiling might think that I think you're coming on to me. Smiling could mean something horrific, like if an adult smiles at a kid, it only means one thing. See? Isn't that gross? It's like the complete opposite is the closest, easiest, most natural, and like carefree, hands-free, like everything free to do. So smile, like do it like in that like hold back smile. It's the street smile. Kind of pucker our lips in a little bit like we don't have them. It's like I want to smile big at you, but I don't want you to get the wrong idea, so I'm just gonna do this weird smile that we've created that carries the smile in our eyes, but as well as the trepidation. We're like, oh, but I don't want to step on your toes with my smile. So mask it. Now we can be free to smile because it's completely hidden under our mask, and our eyes can just smile. But at least we can do that. At least we're free to ourselves. The mask faces outward, so we don't have to hide from ourselves with the face mask on. And while we're being completely free to ourselves, we can just not breathe, breathe harder, because we can't not breathe. We can't not breathe. I'm pretty sure that's not how I mean it. The third not makes it right. Take a breath. Maybe wearing the breath masks is a correlative collective consciousness urge that is similar to smoking. Because when you smoke, anything is like a routine source habit. There's this like that you're inserting quite diligently into your life that most people can miss out on because life doesn't give us so many occasions as it could, with that wonderful like satisfaction sigh, or that like just out of breath because you mean it sigh, with like the oh my gosh, this is hard, and it's asking more of me than I've got. I've got to keep doing it or decide not to. It's like life keeps us on this like very like what is it? I'd say like 5.5 kilometer an hour treadmill run, which it's because of my wellness and fitness industry experience and like life, like analogizing life and angelizing. It's like runnable, but 5.5 like is never going to be anybody's max. Like even no matter what age, if you can do the 5.5 for a moment, you can do it for as long as you want with diligence. And why the treadmill analogy is important might make sense to you, but I was wondering what it was. I've got my mindfulness like bell going. I don't know exactly when it goes because I just forget that. I just have it set to go off during the days. No matter what I'm doing, I stop and I take a moment to come back to that and turn it off, but in that moment to reconnect with my infinite mind. So we do that together. BRB.
I have to get my phone. Did you want me to bring the buggy?
Did I ask for it?
I'll go on just
Right.
because they're going to come back.
No, that's okay.
You don't need it.
Nope. When I'm ready, if I want it, I'll ask for it. Thank you. If I need it, I'll ask for it. Thank you. All the music, gosh. I haven't been singing that much last week since realizing how long I've waited near for you, ever long. Tonight I roll myself into regret, she said. Calm down and waste away when you and me down, clown round with a slow. You wanted it to be alone, I'm not right myself. And I wonder, I must sing along with you. If everything could remember is real, remember everything and never be is good again. The only thing I'll ever ask of you, you got a moment to stop the sun, you say. She sang, breathe like someone can breathe you and hold you in. Now I know you've always been out here and what I say. And I wonder when I sing along with you will everything that never feels true. Everything could ever be as good as you. No, nothing no love, but wrong of you, but not to love, not say. Forever, everything will never be this. God, oh God, no again, no stop. God, I want nothing to stop the night around. Yeah, yeah.
What does it mean to be truly great? It's following your passion to the very top and setting the standard by controlling your fall. Weekly measure. Tequila Herradura, the world's most golden rewarding tequila.
Really feeling strong resonance urges to the Central America, South America, even like Texan kind of Arizonic vibration. One more song. And then maybe one more point. And then we'll sit up. I'm practicing being able to putting together something that makes us more regular. When you try your best and you don't succeed, when you get what you want but not what you need, when you Feel so touch you cast me such in reverse. When the tears come streaming down your veins and you lose something you can't relate. You love someone and go away. Could it be worse? No lights guide you home. Ignite your bones and now you're brighter. High up above or down below, and you're too in love to let go. No, if you never try, you'll never know just what you're worth. Life. So go. So perhaps in closing, what are the things that all this Fask, face mask wearing Fasks, sure, is brought up. Loss of control. Right? It's like a fucking bullshit bylaw. Never mind, which is supported by like a string of like constitutional, like freedom and right breaking codes and governmental like politique to put in force all of this enforcement without any say from its peoples ourselves, right? Like, I didn't vote on a bylaw thing. I haven't been privy to informational, like galactic, like solar, earthly, like American or European, right? Like whatever designation that allows for cohesion of the whole. We're fighting this global crisis together. We're not. We're using it as a continuance of separation, as a function of our unity, as opposed to an attack on it. Look, the worst is really bringing people together. You can't bring people together. People are together. And any external force we place outside ourselves as the acting agent of that will inevitably be evil and absolutely corrupted, because even God outside ourselves is wrong. So ultimately, this outside of ourselves will be a function of all that is outside of ourselves, which is the purposes and wills of our God force, our sense of self and our sense of nature. And when we are void of that, then it's not a void of us, but that aimlessness is basically a continuation of our negligence for looking around and seeing the facts of our life as only facts that we determine. And so all facts are determining, all facts are determinable, and it's all our own call. So fuck all of this loss, fuck all this masking, fuck all this I can't hear, fuck all this it's too loud, fuck all this telling each other what to do while not taking responsibility for doing the things we want to say that we're doing, but can't say because we've got our masks on. So we don't do what we say we would want to do, and we're using not saying as an excuse not to do, when it's its own karmic self-determination. I just totally like Sigmund Freuded myself hard, which is all communication. It's all good conversation, which is why I love meeting you here. Because it broke through my own self-isolation, quarantine enough to allow real connection, real emotion, real vulnerability, which I've always been willing to offer, but not knowing how or what it is, even existential. It's like, what is vulnerability? What is emotions? Are they the words that I used to describe them? Is that accuracy? And it turns out, no, it wasn't. I feel angry. I feel happy. I feel upset. I feel in love. All of those things are just words to paintings and art forms to describe a truth. But if you're in love, where's your art? And it can't be what you love, because what you love is not yours. So be in love with Mona Lisa, but don't make Mona Lisa your painting. Make your painting of Mona Lisa your painting of Mona Lisa. And love it like you love Mona Lisa, because there's only one Mona Lisa, and that's you. Right, Leonard? I think that's a good enough point to end on. If I also just like throw a line and summarize, that we can find all the reasons for ourselves that we've created a world where breathing masks are face masks, and that we have to be wearing them or not wearing them. Why did we manifest this aspect in the world and if it rubs us the wrong ways, where we can't see the way out, then how are we doing that and finding that in ourselves and in other areas of our life? And also, how is it a positive thing? What is it bringing into life? Funnily enough, I'm a shaman, I'm a teacher, I'm a yogi. I don't mean like a yogi, like, there's no cultural reference except the ultimate cultural reference. It's like I'm a yogi. I'm a person that is a yogi. That doesn't mean that you won't find it in how I dress, but you'll find it in how I act unless you don't know what yoga is. True yoga, in which case you'll think that I'm something else. Which is fine with me. Because we don't need the masks to allow ourselves to think everything is something else. I'm the mask. I'm something else. The mask is allowing us to do something. Funnily enough, because I'm a scientist, if by that I mean an experimenter, among other things, I started wearing my own, a breath mask of my own devising. Now, I created it, because I'm an inventor, to act as in like a high altitude mask, artificial like high altitude atmospheric emulator. If you know, that's not what I would call it because it's too long, but you know what I mean, okay? I made breathing harder for myself to strengthen my breathing and to become more aware of the niches and things like that. It's like, oh, you ever try lifting anything heavy and then try lifting it in the way that you're taught, bend your knees, arch your back, things like that. It's like, oh, you're doing the same thing, but it feels really different because you didn't really feel like those angles, those areas of support, those structures. You didn't even know you had back muscles until you lift something using them, right? So using this breath mask to be like, oh, I didn't know I could breathe like this. Or it's like, oh, I didn't know I wasn't aware of my breath. But now that like I can't breathe, I'm forcing breath awareness for like the next 3 seconds. Like, oh, I just focused on breath for 3 seconds. To people who are wearing the mask every day but never pay attention to their breathing. So how did God and love and bring this breath masking and all of this deception into our lives in the only form that it knows how to manifest, which is illusion? So what is the positive illusion bestowed upon us in this gifting of continuing life and love? And then if that all gets too complicated because you're like, I don't give a shit, instead of using breath masks, use, I don't know, some aspect of, I guess, like Western politics or American politics or news or whatever. I call all news worthy type shit politics because it's all bullshit. It's a farce, right? It's a show. But if that's a show that you like, instead of engaging with it in like the most like it's real, it's as real as the things that you're putting in front of your face without having the same level of participation, and like X-Name, take a step back, breathe, developing a relationship with it. But you can use anything, be it a video game, be it creating essential oils or soaps or creams or paintings or new ways of movement, new ways of relaxing. Whatever your creative processing is can be used in the form of the breath masks. Where are we? Where is the world breath masking itself? And then, or where is the world polluting itself? Where is the world embarrassing itself? Where is the world shaming itself? Where is the world doing the most right thing wrongly? outside of you that you're already in, like in up to your knees to, because you're interested in your ground vibrational crew fighter, cleanup crew fighter. And then use that external environment to be like, okay, well, what's the pollution of my life? What's the cause? Right? If we're activists, what's the cause for activation, but in my life? The atrocities of the blah 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 against the kids. We're like, okay, where are we doing it in our own lives? What if that is just extrapolation of something that's in my life? This is a good exercise, especially for me, because it shows what it teaches me is like that's so far outside my world that its karmic lesson one way or another is like I'm learning that it's like, oh, that's not mine at all. It's like because I care about the awful things that our elite are doing to our children, it makes me like I'm awful to children in some way. What makes me? Were you trying to? Yeah, that's exactly what I'm trying to say. And if you're brave enough, you can find out how. Why? Like, let's imagine that when we every day work for a reason that we can't explain to our soul, right? Just imagine yourself like at the pearly gates being like, okay, cool. Why did you do everything that you did in your life? And it's like, well, I didn't really have a choice. I had to do this. I had to eat my food. I had to do this. I had kids and like that. And then, but you're at the end of your life, so you're not living anymore. So you're no longer disillusioned with the idea that you aren't in control of any of that. So you're standing at whoever the angel, pearly gates, being like, yo, why did you do all that? And you're saying all these reasons, but you're both like kind of like looking at each other, being like, because all your reasons for not doing or doing, I mean, you're dead, but you're still here. So you're like, fuck. Nah, I was really just kidding myself. And all the reasons that we do what we do, that's not creating a better world for our children. Because all the children are the children of the human race. All the children are the children of the world. Forevermore, the children of all the animals, of all the plants, of all the everythings. It's the children that carry what we are and what we built forward through time. So we are the children of the light. We are shining through the darkness of the night. Hope for this world. Just remembering the song, like church song, basically from childhood. Good one. It's like, yeah, I like this one. And when we work our 9 to 5, we pay our bills. We pay all the fines. We get all our licenses. We get all our certifications. We sign all the dotted lines. We get all the insurance. We get all the right kind of debt. We do all those things right. You know, by the time that we're supposed to get it right. All of that we're passing on to our kids. And not just their future, because it's hardly it. It's we're trying to make their future, our present their future. But I don't teach my kids like that. I teach them that they don't have to be. Yes, but when we do all of those things at our heart, like you were born on the plains of Africa, you have ridden on the backs of the wild in among the trees of North America, the rivers of South America, the deserts of Iceland. are this born alive thing. And we look at our world, it's easy to see how instead of being this alive thing, we stop being alive when we're kids. And the only joy that we allow ourselves is basically the joy that we get from kids. We stop being it ourselves. So we glorify youth in our culture, in our media, in our crime, in our atrocities. All death is the killing of a child. All violence is violence against children. Because you don't have to smack a child. Every child that hears about a child being smacked gets smacked. Every child that gets treated wrongly and hears about it is a child that gets treated wrongly. That's empathy, that's truth. And that's the state from which you have to get pulled strongly from. And how strongly does the pull need to be for you to pull back? Are you willing to breathe until you can't breathe anymore? You suffocate because it's too hard to breathe. But, or do you take another breath no matter what? And, or do you take another breath no matter what, and you're always loving yourself the breath enough to make the breath easier and or stronger? Right? Because you can be the mask wearing evangelist. Wears the mask even though it's hard. It's the right thing to do. Or you can blah blah blah. And the only reason you don't wear a mask is that it stopped making your breathing stronger. You're like, oh look, I can't breathe as strongly with the mask. I'm like, okay, yeah. Well, you don't need the mask anymore to know that your breath can be stronger, can be made stronger, and you don't need the breath to make it stronger. There's a lot of analogy, a lot of metaphor, a little bit of singing, a little bit of dancing. Oh really? People are always dancing. Hopefully you had a good time with me. Almost don't want it to end. But you're right here anyway, so just know that I'm the most grateful for that. And the reassurance that I've always felt you here immediately. Before I even know what an I was or you, it was just being confirmed and confident. Opening up to an eternity of gratitude and love. With you and all of you and each other, but especially you. We'll chat soon, okay? Peace out. A-Town. I'm the same. Seriously, I love you.